everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat. If you do not know what a WIP Chat is, that is when I work on my current WIP, WIP, which is work in progress. This is Two Witches from Orloa. I will link the unboxing in the eye for you guys if you'd like to see that. But you can pull out whatever it is that you are working on and work alongside with me. It could be another craft project. It could be a household project. It could be while you're doing chores, while you're driving, while you're working, while you're pretending to work. Whatever it is that you want to be doing. There is no right way or wrong way to WIP Chat. So hi, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content, and I would love for you to like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's be friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. If you have been here before, you're probably like, yay, Lindsay did another WIP Chat. I am carving out a little bit of time today to get stuff done. Not a whole lot. If I sound like I'm winded, it is because I am. I just got done working my shift at the grocery store, and you might be thinking to yourself, Lindsay, I didn't know you got a job. I didn't. I did not. And I am beyond frustrated. And I know this is such like a whiny, bratty thing to complain about, but I am very tired of going to my supermarket. This is I've had one time in the last like month and a half that there's been an employee working at checkout. So for me, I personally, I don't mind if I have to run in and grab like one thing or like a small amount of things. That's one thing. But I do not like when I have to go to the supermarket to do a full grocery shop and then there's no cashiers working at the checkout lanes and I now have to do it myself. So I feel like I may have already complained about this, but it's something that's really bothering me, and I literally just got back from the market again. But I don't... If you are a primary caretaker, whether it be you're somebody who takes care of your house, somebody who takes care of children, grandchildren, elderly parents, whatever it may be, you know that sometimes having alone time, society likes to say to us, that's self-care. You should take that time and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, running errands is not self-care. But if I have to go to the grocery store, I prefer to do it by myself so that I don't have a tiny human up my butt, being a pain in the butt, and all of that stuff. And I also don't want to sit there and try to figure out how to bag $150 worth of groceries or whatever I'm getting. And my biggest issue is that there's usually between 3 and 5 employees standing in the self-checkout lane. So for me today, nothing is more annoying than when I'm sitting there and it's telling me to continuously put the item in the bagging area, put the item in the bagging area, put the item in the bagging area. I'm like, oh my god, it is in the bagging area. And then if you click skip bagging too many times, then they send like an employee over to make sure that you're not stealing. It's like, I'm not stealing. I'm just trying to bag my groceries. But then if you don't start scanning quick enough, it's like, end transaction? Are you done? Okay. And the other day, I went in with my husband. I had to pick up like one thing. I don't even remember what it was. One thing. And I needed to pull cash. I used to think before I had kids, like, people who needed to use drive-thrus, whatever kind of drive-thru, like, all the time, like, I was like, it's not that hard, just get out of your car. Now I understand. It's for convenience, whether you have somebody else in the car with you or not. My bank does not have a drive-up ATM, and usually I have a small child with me, so I prefer to do cash back when I go to the supermarket to pay for my kids' ice skating lessons. So I go to the lane, and I do the thing, and I said to the cashier that's not ringing anybody out, I said, oh, does this one not do cash back? And she goes, oh no, that one's card only. I'm like, oh, okay, didn't say it, but I'm like, oh, okay. So I went over to another register and I literally bought the closest candy bar to me so that I could do a cash back transaction, and again went right through and it completed the transaction. I was like, what the heck, like, I don't understand what's happening. So then my husband actually, his bank, which is right there, they do have cash back. And so he did his there. And I was just like, this is so annoying. So today I spent, like, no joke, I spent over an hour in the supermarket shopping and then checking myself out. And so I called their corporate office because I'm tired of this. Like, I know that the one time they said to me that sometimes they don't have someone there in the morning because they call out. But you're going to tell me that you've had a person calling out every single time I'm at the market for 6 weeks? Like, I can't fathom that. You know, and then they tell me, like, oh, well, they open them up later in the day. That's not true, because I went later in the day and they still didn't have one open. And I see, especially, like, our seniors, they don't want to be doing this. Some of them don't have a clue how to find the tomato that they need to check out. And they just want someone to take care of it. And it would move everybody along more quickly if you had somebody who knew what they were doing at the cash wrap. It just drives me crazy. Like, if you're going to make me sit here and do this much work, then I would like a W-2. I would like a paycheck. So that's where I've been, and I'm super annoyed. So last week I actually fully intended on getting a video out to you guys, but our whole house has just been hit with sickness, and it's just, if it's not one thing, it's something else. And it's just, like, trying to figure out any semblance of a routine is just, like, kicking me in the teeth. I finally feel like I'm making progress somewhere, and then, you know, 12 things happen. Or, you know, there's an issue, or whatever it is, and I'm just tired. So I do have new content. I filmed, over the last couple of days, I filmed, I think, 4 or 5 videos, one of which I already put up. I have some unboxings. I have a little mini haul from Firefly. I've got a few more kits on their way to me. I've got one a company is sending me to unbox. One that's kind of a company sending me to unbox. I'll explain that when I get it. And yeah, I think that might be it. I'm excited though that I finally have some things in the queue. And I say that as if I don't already have like a couple videos that have been sitting in my queue to wait to be published forever. I just don't know why I don't activate them ever. They're always like my just in case videos, or, you know, I don't know. But I hope that you guys are well. I hope that you guys all had a lovely Halloween. Halloween is our jam here. I'm not going to get like super political, because that's not really what this is about. But now that Halloween is done, my daughter wants to put up our Hanukkah inflatable, which Hanukkah doesn't begin till, I think it's almost in February, December 8th this year, I think. And so I think my husband said December 1st we'll put it up. And she's all excited. But with everything going on in the world right now, there's a little part of me that is really, really nervous about it. Simply put, I've had a couple people reach out to me, and I think there are people that assume because I'm Jewish that I have blind allegiance to Israel, but like, I'm not from Israel. I mean, even if I was, that's a different story. But I've had a couple people, I guess, just assume that. And I just want to state, and this is all I'm going to say about it and move on, because if you are somebody who has never dealt with hate based off of your race or your religion, this is going to be like totally foreign to you. But for me, I've dealt with anti-Semitism in real life. I've dealt with it online. I've dealt with it as a child. I've dealt with it as an adult. I do not support what Israel is doing, and I don't know why the genocide is continuing to happening in Gaza, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But because of that, we live in a very not diverse area, and I don't want people to see our Hanukkah decor and make assumptions and retaliate. Or just simply retaliate because they don't want Jews in their neighborhood. So, I'm hoping that this is just something that I'm overthinking and that it'll be a non-issue, because I do not want to have to explain to my daughter, if anything does happen, what that means. And, that's scary. So, but with that being said, we had a really wonderful Halloween, and I hope that you guys did as well. If you guys participated, Halloween is my absolute favorite. I love all things fall, so I love going to the pumpkin patch, and I love getting to do... Well, we haven't done any haunted attractions with her because she's little. Even though she does keep specifying that she wants to, but then all of a sudden something happened. I have a feeling she was telling kids at school how much she loves Halloween, and somebody made fun of her for it, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this kid who can't get enough Halloween was scared of things that like a week earlier she was obsessed with. So I don't know. Also, I don't know if you guys can see this. So here's a star and here's a moon right here. Let's see if I turn the light off, if that helps. I think I might actually do these in special drills. I'm not 100% sure yet what I'm going to do. I used special drills earlier in a different part of my canvas. So we'll see. But let me see. I wrote down a couple of the things we did. I know I'm not going to be able to like cover that much stuff. I feel like I need a bigger tray than this, but it is what it is. It's what I have. It's what I've been working with. There's been a lot of confetti. Like this section here that I finished last night had so much confetti in it, and then I got all of the color blocking done before I went to bed. Now I have to finish all of like the other color blocking and then little bits of confetti around here to just have this section that's off camera now. I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick. But I do have a Hanukkah kit coming, you guys. I did an unboxing of the Bella Safina one. Also, I'm gonna just point it out in case somebody else feels the need to message me and tell me. I hate using this platform to like complain about things that I shouldn't have to complain about, but yet here we are. Okay, first things first. Diamond Art Club and Oraloa both released the same Hanukkah image. Long story short, no, I am not buying it. I mean, maybe in the future I will, but right now I did not purchase it. It is not the kind of image that I am looking for specifically. And I know when the previous kit from Diamond Art Club, which I have completed and done a post review, which I will leave that up in the eye for you guys there. When I did that one, let me make a note of that so I don't forget. I'm going to have to watch my video anyway to make sure I'm not missing things. When that one came out, I had people saying to me, like, look, you should be happy. You got an option. Be happy. Be happy. And I just want to say, if you guys are part of the Diamond Art Club Facebook group, for example, this is a really prime example of why it pisses me off so much when people are like, but you should be happy and thankful and blah, blah, blah. They did 25 holiday releases, one of which was Hanukkah. And the amount of posts that I saw of people just incessantly complaining, there's not enough Jesus, there's not enough Father Christmas, I didn't like any of the images, blah, 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 blah. Nobody said to them, listen, you should be thankful you had 24 other images to choose from, plus the 75 or whatever that they have on their site from previous years. But yet, if I say that I don't love the Hanukkah image, I get crucified because, well, you should be appreciative that you had an option. So the hypocrisy is real. It's not my particular style. I have a feeling, and I'm not targeting anyone, if anyone here is the person I'm referencing, I have a feeling a lot of people were like, oh, my neighbor's aunt's best friend is Jewish, and I think she'd really like this. The colors are really pretty. Or people said, oh my God, look, there's a bunch of Hanukkah images. I'm going to vote so that they get made. The problem is, I think the majority of the people that voted for the images that got made, like the Hanukkah image specifically, I have a feeling that the majority of them are not actually people who would have been purchasing that image in the first place. I obviously am not going to speak for an entire community of people, but everybody that I know that is Jewish felt at least a wave of disappointment. We want those same family scenes that you're getting with your Christmas images. I don't care if I can see the faces of the people or not, but like the one that I did, you could see that there was a family on the other side of that image. You could feel that you were looking into somebody's window without being voyeuristic. And that's what I want. I want a warm family scene. And I submitted, one of the artists at Dreamer Designs has already, Trisha Riley McNeil, something like that. I'm sure I'm wrong, but she has 2 images in her catalog that are gorgeous Hanukkah images, and I recommended both of them to Dreamer Designs just because she's already licensed with them. There's a Hannah Lynn image that I recommended to Diamond Art Club. However, I don't believe it was ever done in full color, which if they make coloring pages and they never actually color them in, like nobody at a diamond painting company is going to add the color to it, you know? So it's been really difficult. Jamie, if you guys don't know Jamie Paints, let me know that Marjorie Sarnat, who has done, I've done the, oh my God, the one with the seahorse. If I can remember the name of it, I have the poster you. I'll link that one for you guys up in the eye. But she has an entire coloring book. She also did Hawaiian Cat. She has a lot of really cool, very folksy images, but she has an entire coloring book of Hanukkah images. And there's one that's like an octopus menorah, you guys. And even though that one is not exactly what I'm saying I'm looking for, it's something that I think is super cool. And so I hope that moving forward, seeing that a couple companies are considering releasing Hanukkah images and actually releasing Hanukkah images, that this will just be the beginning. I remember when TSA had their Hanukkah one, and I'm going to be completely blunt with you guys because I really don't care. I thought it was hideous. I never liked that. And I had quite a few people like say to me, like, you should just be appreciative. And I'm like, what do you mean I should be appreciative? There's one option. Like, if I wanted an option for Christmas that had nutcrackers in it, there's more options than anything for Hanukkah. Like, I'm not trying to say that I need as many options, but I shouldn't be an afterthought. And also, just a suggestion to any diamond painting companies out there that are living out there, listening to me, which I'm sure is like none of them, but if you do release a Hanukkah image or a religious image, especially if it has religious text in it, like Hebrew, even if you don't have anyone Jewish on staff, like maybe like consult somebody who is Jewish to make sure that like the Hebrew is legible or that it's real, because I've seen that before, not necessarily diamond painting, but I have definitely seen that before where where companies release things and I'm like, that's not Hebrew. I don't know what that is. And yeah, so that's it. I feel like I'm rambling about this. It's something that's like super near and dear to my heart. I was at the rink the other day and there was a little girl who, she's just started middle school this year. So my guess is she's like 11, 12. And she was super, super sweet. And I was talking to her and she was there with her mom and her brother. And, somehow we got into the conversation about like holiday stuff. And I had mentioned that I had actually already approached the school. If anyone here works in like school administration, can you please let me know? Do they keep a list of parents, guardians, whoever, that they find difficult? Because I swear I'm on that list for just simply advocating. Anyway, so I let them know that, you know, you can't have an entire week of spirit days that are holiday themed if they only reference one holiday. Lest we forget that Kwanzaa also exists during the same time of year. But if you have kids that are wearing red and green for wear red and green, that also encompasses that. But there should be days where it's wear your holidays colors or even wear blue and white. Because non-Jewish kids can wear blue and white too. Like, it's just super frustrating that everything was dictated towards Christmas. And like, I have a friend, she's like, well, this isn't Christmas. And I was like, yes, it is. Nobody ever said, let me see your ugly Hanukkah sweater. Nobody ever said, let me see your Hanukkah gingerbread house. Like, those don't exist. Those are not... I just hate that we use inclusive language as, like, a guise of actually being inclusive, and it's not. So anyway, I let my daughter know very, very clearly, listen, mommy went above and beyond, and you have, like, a different Hanukkah outfit for every day of Hanukkah, so if it does not work with your spirit days, you're gonna wear your Hanukkah stuff. Like, I'm not gonna forfeit outfits just so she can wear spirit days. And you might be saying to yourself, why are you telling us this, Lindsay? It's not really that important. You're right. It probably is not that really important. But we had Red Ribbon Week, which I guess is like a thing every school does. I don't know. Tell me if you guys had them. And so our kid had these spirit days, and they were the week leading up to Halloween. So all of these Halloween looks that we've had that we haven't been able to wear because it's been so freaking hot. I got all these things in long sleeves because usually it's cold in October here. It was not cold. Of course it was cold on trick or treat. It was freezing on trick or treat night. But, whoa. I don't know what that noise was. But anyway, I was super annoyed. I was like, we missed all these opportunities for holiday outfits because my daughter wanted to wear the Spirit Day stuff. So, I don't know about you guys. I'm a creative person, but I'm not creative, like, on demand. I'm not like, oh my God, I need this crazy hat and I need it right now. Like, if I want to make a crazy hat, I'm sure I can make a crazy hat if I really wanted to. But I'm just saying, it's just annoying. Anyway, so this past, like, week or two, as I mentioned, we did some Halloween stuff. We got to go to the pumpkin patch finally. Every time we tried to go to the pumpkin patch this fall, it was either raining or my husband was working. And we had one day that we were actually set to go, and due to some not great behaviors, we ended up not going, and it was super frustrating because we wanted to get our pumpkins. So we got our pumpkins super last minute. They didn't have any, like, good pumpkins left. But it was fine. You know, we got a couple apples. We got some pumpkins. We didn't get to go to the one pumpkin patch that has the hay rides and all that stuff because, again, either my husband was working or it rained, and they closed the last weekend of the month because it rained the one day, and then it was expected to rain again, even though it didn't rain, and so they just closed for the season. We got to go to Pumpkin Glow, which I've talked about this before. I guess it's not Pumpkin Glow anymore. It's Pumpkin Palooza. It's held at the Hershey Gardens, which is like the local botanical gardens. And they have a really cool kids area. So what they used to do is they used to do this event called Pumpkin Glow, and it was all at night when it was dark out. And they would light up all these pumpkins. Some were real, some were artificial, and they were all carved, they were all painted, they were all decorated, they were all just cool. And then it changed from that Pumpkin Glow to Pumpkin Palooza, which I think was a smart move for them, even if I don't love it, because it allowed families to come during the day, during their regular business hours. But the downside is that this year, so last year they still had a room. I don't know what it's normally used for, but they used it and they decorated it and they turned off all the lights and they did a bunch of lit pumpkins in there. But this year, that was not there at all. So there was no aspect of, like, pumpkins that were glowing, which I get it, but, like, that's a bummer. Like, do you guys love seeing, like, carved pumpkins? I love it. I love it. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But we had a lot of fun. We ran into one of Briar's old therapists, one of her speech pathologists. And she got to wear a costume. And it's funny, if you guys are new here, my daughter is artificial, color-free, dye-free. And we had these conversations with her about Halloween and candy and all this stuff, and if this is a journey that you're on, maybe you understand and can relate to it a little bit, and if it's not a journey you're on, maybe this seems so, like, weirdly out of touch. She understands that she can't have dye, and she's okay with that. And I've always told her that if I have to take something away, like if it's something that you can't have, for example, I'll replace it with something else. So I'm going to put down a piece of release paper here so that I can work on right up here without leaning in the, and I'm totally out of frame. That's all right. If you guys need to see anything, I'll let you know. And there's like this big thing this year that I've seen a lot of families are doing, and it's like the Switch Witch, where it's not even just for families that are dye-free. Let me just preference this. And it's like, you know, you put out all your bad candy and you can swap it for something else. Most kids are swapping it for like toys or money or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't want to teach her that food is bad. There's a reason that we don't eat dye. And it's not because dye is inherently good or inherently bad. It's that it actually affects her brain and her behavior, and she understands that. Whether she believes it, I have no idea. Probably not, because she's, you know, 5. But I would never guise it in that way, so I did let her know, and so she's getting upset because this thing was it's run by Hershey, and so they were giving out Twizzlers, which are not dye-free, but they are allergen safe, so kids who can't have dairy or nuts can have it. And all these things. And so she kept getting upset when they were putting the things in that she can't eat. And I just said to her, I was like, Prior, like, they don't know what you're allowed to eat and what you're not allowed to eat. And also don't worry about it. Like, Mommy will swap it out. So we have some dye-free candy, but my kid, as much as she is like a little snacker and loves treats and things like that, she's like barely eaten any of her Halloween candy. Which is really interesting to me. I feel like I'm way, way off on my placement over here, which is making me a little bit nervous. But yeah, sorry, I'm focusing there. We exchanged a bunch of books from the library, and then I spent like hours in the library, and I was like, girlfriend, I love you, but we gotta go home. I was really bummed. She picked it out, the Disney Princess Cookbook. Oh, I have to sneeze, hold on. Sorry, I didn't want to sneeze in your guys' ears. She picked out the Disney Princess Cookbook, and we were like, yeah, let's make some of the things in here. She loves helping out in the kitchen. She loves being involved, and all of that. So I was like, yeah, great. So we're sitting there, we're going through it. You guys, I was so bummed. Whoever took the book out before, they clearly smoked in the house that they had the book in, because it was like a punch to the gut how bad it smelled like cigarette smoke. Now, I have never had that in a book where like every page you turn it just smelled like it. So I guess if somebody was cooking while smoking a cigarette and they were using the recipe book or whatever it was that they were doing, and it was just a bummer. But we have to return those next week, so hopefully we can squeeze in. It smells better now that it's been sitting out, but this kid loves the library. She's learning how to read right now. They're working on sight words, and this kid loves learning, and I hope that this joy for learning never ends. I hope that it is something that she has forever and ever. But we had a day where we went and had lunch with my mother-in-law, and my kiddo was really excited. She's really been missing her. And then she got really upset because she wanted to go back to her grandmother's apartment, which I couldn't do because I'm allergic, and I didn't take an allergy pill because I wasn't planning on spending the day with her. I was just planning on, grabbing some lunch with her. But she was supposed to come see Briar skate, and then there was like a huge issue with my daughter, not my mother-in-law. And I was like, listen, this is just not the time. You can see her skate another time, but today is not it. She doesn't like driving at night, which, I mean, neither do I, but, so now that it gets dark, earlier and things, she wanted to come with us to her private lessons, which are in the afternoon. And it just didn't work out, and she was sad, and then Briar was really upset because she wanted to see her grandmother, and I was like, okay, we'll go see her. And so I surprised her. And they had a great time. It was super fun. And my kiddo is going to be skating in the Nutcracker here locally, which is super exciting. And my mother-in-law is ready to go. Our nephew is actually going to bring her, so she doesn't have to worry about driving at night. Obviously, a day that my kid is performing, I can't be driving all over the place. And so I'm excited. So we actually started practice for the Nutcracker. I had to send her all of her measurements for the costumes. I'm very curious to see how it'll be. She is, I think, the littlest one in her group. So if you guys, there's like a super, super, super crash course on ice skating, and I can't tell you anything past this. So you have your basic skills. They are basics levels 1 through 6. And then after that, you go into like the next level up of levels. But if you start ice skating under a certain age, I think it's like 6 or 7, they typically start you in Snowplow Sam. Snowplow Sam, you do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then once you've completed 1 through 4, I think that puts you into Basic 3. Like, I think it's the equivalent of finishing Basics 1 and 2. And we did not go through Snowplow because our home rink doesn't do it that way. Our home rink just starts everybody at the basic skills. So when the coaches at the other rink were talking about, you know, Snowplow Sam, and everybody starts Snowplow Sam when they're like, I had a bunch of parents looking at me, and I was like, we didn't do Snowplow Sam, because I think they always look over and they're like, how is this child over in that section? But also, my kid is above whatever level it bumps you into, so I know nobody needs to know that, but I'm excited. She seems really excited. Now all of a sudden she's like really interested in actual like nutcrackers. And doesn't understand that like most of them are just decorative now. I showed her a video on how they work, and so now she like wants a nutcracker, but she wants it to crack nuts. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I saw Target had a like DIY, like one of the ones you paint. So I might get her that and let her, you know, just decorate it however she wants. She's very excited. She has no concept of what the nutcracker actually is. She's never seen the ballet. So I don't know if it's worth me like showing it to her or not. I don't know, but she's excited. So we actually are not taking any group lessons at our home rink right now because we still stuck with the same amount of times we skate a week. It's 2 group lessons, 1 private lesson. The private lesson's at our home rink, but now both of the group lessons are over at the other rink, and that is simply because one of them is for the nutcracker at that rink, and the other is for her regular learn to skate. And so I'm excited. I asked our coach, I was like, do you mind if we do it at the other rink? And she's like, whatever's more convenient for you. And then I signed her up for the nutcracker at the rink that's around the corner from us. And then I could see like our coach was not super thrilled about that. And I was like, here's the thing. Those lessons, like I don't get home till 7:30. Because of the time of the lesson and how far away it is. Whereas the other one, it's over at 6:15 and it's 5 minutes from my house. So usually by 6:30, I'm in my house eating dinner. The other rink, we're not even done our lesson at 6:30. And it's just like, I'm not going to be here. I'm just not going to be here for Learn to Skate this session. But we ended up not doing our daughter's first competition that we were slated to do. Maturity-wise, she just didn't seem there for it yet. And there's also like a big fear of us actually like driving to a competition and then her, because she's stubborn, okay, deciding she doesn't want to skate. Because that's a real possibility. And like they don't give you your money back. And if you didn't know, you have to pay to compete. Wow, a bunch of these just buckled up. I made the mistake of, I am working on the section the height of this section, because it's the only thing I have left to do, is really too much for me to, like, comfortably reach across and do. But the problem was, it's not big enough for me to really split in half evenly. Or easily, I guess. You guys, it's just... Anyway, so... her horseback riding ended this month. Or, I guess, October. Which made her really sad. So, the stables that we are taking our lessons at, they are moving. And they are not taking their horses with them. So the horse that we were riding had previously been sold, and then the horse that we were riding after that had also been sold. That horse had been sold to a local stable. I mean, I have no idea where. So it's not like I can be like, oh, we can go ride him at, you know, so-and-so. I have no idea. It was sad because it's like, oh, she's not understanding that, like, this is, like, it for riding. It's not like, oh, well, we'll be back in a few months. Like, they're moving. They're selling. Their house is already sold, and they're moving away. And she's like, oh, okay, well, we can do it in the spring when it gets warm again. And I'm like, So I've not written it out as in, like, looking for a new stable for the spring. But as of right, like, I do not have the desire to sit outside while it's freezing cold and watch her horseback ride. So that's, you know, that's that. It's sad to see it go. Something that she definitely enjoys. It's also very expensive. I mean, everything everything my kid does is expensive. Like, who knew my kid was going to pick the expensive sports? You know, it's funny, I was talking to somebody and she's like, oh, you have no idea how expensive. I think it was like karate. And I was like, okay. I may not know how much karate is, but I know how much I pay for all of my lessons for, I keep hearing noises and I am the only one home. That is a daunting feeling. But my alarm is set because if you guys have never been here, I had my neighbor come into my house one day. My husband and I were up here, and she just helped herself into my house. Which, if I can find that WIP Chat, I'll link that one up in the eye as well. Let me make a note of that. Anyway, so we got to visit my mother-in-law. We got to visit my grandfather. My father-in-law. We did that the same day we picked pumpkins because it's really close to his house. And, of course, the kiddo loved that. I've got all these colors I pulled out, and I'm like, where's the one I want? None of these are the ones I want. Oh, because I didn't pull that one out. That would help. Let's do letter... No. We're going to do the H. H. Sorry. I don't even know what I was saying. So... The one day my kiddo had, I don't even remember what we were doing, and we ended up going up to, I found this place, actually, I got it targeted ad on Instagram, and they do, bubble waffles, walking tacos, elote, you guys, I got a horchata PSL. Holy shit, that was so good. I love both horchata and pumpkin spice lattes. So that was grand. This place was so cute. We didn't get to get as much stuff as I would have liked to because we were doing it before we went ice skating. The day we changed lesson times one day. There was not going to be ice time during her normal lesson because there was a hockey tournament. Hockey is king. It trumps everything. Whatever. So, we went there for lunch, and unfortunately, like, we wanted to do, like, I just wanted to do the churros, and they had the, I'm gonna butcher what it's called officially. Maria, if you're watching, don't shake your head embarrassment at me. It's when they have all the fruits that are covered in the tahini and chamoy and all of that, and unfortunately, that does have dye in it, so... I knew that loading her up with that, like, right before going ice skating was not going to be a good idea, but I did let her know it is something that we can come back and try in the future. I mean, I know that they make dye-free chamoy, but I'm sure this restaurant is not buying that. And anyway, so we had a great time. She had a little bubble waffle with some fresh strawberries, and it was just a really cute little place. You guys, it's just been... I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I'm not stressed anymore, and oh, I found a routine that works for me, because that's not the case. I just feel like, for better or worse, I'm just kind of getting used to, like, the fact that, like, the mundane is my life now, and that it's not going to be anything other than that. So it kind of sucks, because it feels like I'm just kind of, like, succumbing to it and being like, well, it is what it is, you know, which, it's true, it is what it is, but it just sucks. It just sucks. Am I doing the right color? Yeah, okay. Ooh, you guys, I am all over the place in terms of struggling right now. But I would say that I've now done a decent amount of recipes that we've gotten to saying, like, oh, okay, we like this. Can we do this week? And as opposed to me constantly finding brand new recipes to try every week because I don't know what to make. So I've definitely found a few solid staples that I like, that my kiddo likes. Like, we're going to have lazy lasagna tonight. That is probably her number one most requested thing that I do. We have ice skating tonight, so it'll be nice and warm and hearty afterwards. And because of my husband's schedule and her skating schedule, he, unless he's off, he always takes ride share home on Mondays. And then it works out well for the lazy lasagna because he can throw the noodles in the pot. Because everything else cooks in the crock pot for hours, and then you just throw the noodles in at the end so that they don't turn to mush. Which I like. And I am definitely, like, no longer doing crock pot meals that require, like, 13 steps beforehand. Which I don't know if I complained about that on here or not, but I had one recipe and I had to do all of these things on the stovetop beforehand. And I was like, well, this is what I get for not reading the recipe, but this sucks. And it took forever, too. It wasn't like, oh, here, do a couple things. It was like, here are 13 steps to do before you actually put anything in the crock pot. And then it wasn't even that good, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, so we also did a trunk or treat. I had an acquaintance of ours complaining about trunk or treat because they thought it was... that parents only do trunk or treats because, like, they don't want to prepare their kids for, like, the real world and let them be scared by Halloween. So here's the thing. I am part of that generation that was like, you're going to cry? Let me give you something to cry about. Okay? Like, that's what was said to us. And in turn, we are saying to our kids, I'm sorry when we do something wrong, and treating them with respect. And not saying that older generations didn't treat children with respect, but it's very different. The way my parents raised me versus how I'm trying to raise my child. And a general rule of thumb, I'm just going to say, if you hear of something, a product, let's talk about products, for example. You go, that's ridiculous. Why would anybody need that? I can open the jar, crack the egg, cut, whatever it may be, without needing a special tool. Chances are, the reason that you think it's ridiculous is because it's not for you. It's not targeted for you. It's targeted for somebody who has mobility needs or... for whatever reasons, struggles with whatever the thing is, okay? Same thing with trunk or treat. Yes, trunk or treat does allow parents, if they want to go and hit up a million different Halloweens and whatnot, okay? I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I think what I'm going to do... I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with these two. So I'm going to leave them. And not fill them in with drills. But trunk or treats are perfect for people who live in maybe they live in a community that they don't really have trick-or-treaters, or they live in a very rural area where it's like you have to walk a mile to the next neighbor's house. Or maybe it's great for families who have mobility issues because everything's all level playing field. You don't have to go up people's driveways, walk upstairs. Everything is laid out right there. Or it's perfect for kids who are really little, who maybe like the parents don't want them trick-or-treating out as late, or families who have kids that are neurodivergent. Maybe they're a flight risk. Maybe they can't handle all the flashing, for sensory reasons, they can't handle the flashing lights, the noises, the things that pop out. It's not a matter of making our kids soft by allowing them to access trunk or treat. And I know for us, we like being able to do it because it gives her an opportunity to celebrate more Halloween. But it also makes me so thankful that, like, my best friend, for example, that I just realized I missed a whole chunk of that color. That she can take her kids to do trunk-or-treating because it allows it to be in a safe environment for her kids. And she can't take them like regular trick-or-treating because it's too overstimulating. So we were really happy that we were able to do the one trunk-or-treat. I was a little bit bummed they had a fire truck, and I thought like they would let the kids like on the fire truck or even like look on the inside, but they just stood outside of it. Which, you know, it's not my place to tell them what to do, but anyway. And then on actual trick-or-treat night, which trick-or-treat fell on trick-or-treat this year where I live, that's one of the things that I don't understand. Like, one of the most perplexing things to me as an adult is that sometimes Halloween is not on Halloween. And I'm like, what do you mean? They change it depending on the day of the week, and then there's rain dates. Now listen, I'm not going to sit here and say, this is how it needs to be done, it shouldn't be done this way, whatever. But me personally, like, can Halloween just always be on Halloween? Because it makes it easier to know when your kid is trick-or-treating. It makes it easier to know when everything is. But I grew up, it didn't matter if it was 100 degrees or negative 12 degrees and downpouring. You went trick-or-treating. That was it. Like, you want to trick-or-treat, go trick-or-treating. And I don't know when that changed. I don't know when that became like a thing that they had different dates. I have no idea. Did I not pull the other letter out that I wanted? Oh, I did. Okay. I'm like, tell me I'm losing my mind here, you guys. I'm going to put that piece of not parchment. What are these called? Release papers. Ooh, down. But anyway, on actual Halloween, we went as Ladybug and Cat Noir. If you guys don't know what it is, I'll put a picture here. And it's this show where they're like high school kids in France, and my daughter wanted to be Ladybug really, really badly. And she's like, so you're going to be Cat Noir. And I was like, what? I didn't want to be Cat Noir. I was Cat Noir. But there are high school students who, you know, they turn into superheroes and save Paris. I have to put this into a different tray. There's not enough room in this tray. Of course, I'm going to pick a tray that's like the same size. I don't really want to do it on this color, but that's what I've got in front of me. If you guys did not know, I didn't mention it, but I'm using my Firefly Halloween trays, which you'll see in that haul that I did. I'm aware that it's going up after Halloween, but I'm talking about because they have like the holiday curated trays. They have Christmas ones available right now. Anyway, so I don't even remember what I just... Oh, so we were Ladybug and Cat Noir. She was such a rock star. She went up to every house. She rang the doorbell or knocked on the door or whatever it was and was super polite at every single house. She knew what candies to look for that were safe. And as promised, if there was stuff in there that she couldn't eat afterwards, Mommy would swap it out. It's such a joy. Like, I know not everybody is into Halloween. We're super into Halloween here. Like, I have decorations up out front year-round now. And I used to be one of those people that was like, people need to stop celebrating Christmas before Thanksgiving, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I do personally feel that way, but you know what? If it brings you joy to put your Christmas tree up on November 1st, like, do you. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I don't get it, but I don't need to get it, right? Because some people don't get my love of Halloween and our little ghosties and all of that. Anyway, so it was really great. Trick or Treat was wonderful. She did a really fantastic job. She was super polite. She looked both ways before crossing the street, which is great because that's one of the things we deal with. And it actually sparked a little issue with the school. I had a day where my husband had the car. So every, once a month, maybe twice a month, my husband has this shift where he has to be at work at 7 in the morning. Unless we need the car for something else that day, my daughter has the ability to take the bus to and from school. So, on those days, I let him take the car, usually, unless I need it. And that way I don't have to wake her up at 5:30 in the morning to get her ready so that we can be ready to take him to work. And I had said to the school when we had our evaluation that my daughter is a flight risk. I had explained this to them, and I feel like, and this is obviously just my personal experience, I can't speak for anybody else's educational experiences and what it was like for them and their family and their kids, but in my experience, it has been one of those things that a lot of times when you tell the teachers, the administrators, the whoever's, this is what the issue is, this is what my child struggles with, whatever, that they go, oh no, it's fine. And they don't believe it till they see it. So I had mentioned to them that this was an issue, and I let her teacher know, her kindergarten teacher know, if you leave that door open and nobody's paying attention, she will leave the room. She knows there's a trampoline in your hallway, she's going to go out there and jump on the trampoline. Or just lack of impulse control, curiosity, just wander out. Our biggest issue is in parking lots. When we get out of the car, the second we get out of the car, her natural instinct is to run. So I was one of those people who I absolutely had one of the harnesses for my daughter when we would go out for public places because it was for her safety. She was a flight risk. If you guys have ever heard of eloping and you didn't know what that was, it's very common in the autism community. My daughter's not on the spectrum, but my daughter is neurodivergent, and she just, I don't know if it's more that or more of a lack of impulse control, but either way, it happens a lot. So I got a call from the school the one day, and they said to me, your daughter's refusing to get on the bus. What should we do? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean? What should you do? Just get her on the bus. I don't, whatever I'm going to tell you is not going to make a difference if the bus has to leave in 3 minutes and she's wrapped around a table. So apparently what had happened was she had a collision with another child minutes earlier, and she knocked her glasses off. She got hurt in the moment. She was totally okay. And she was freaked out, and she wanted to go to the nurse, and they told her, you don't have time to go to the nurse because it's dismissal time. And she just started melting down and freaking out. So the teacher's calling me, and I'm like, listen, I'm not sure what to tell you what to do because you guys aren't allowed to physically hold the children. What I would do is I would literally grab her, carry her, and put her on the bus, but I know that that's not an option. So she's like, well, let me see if I can get the principal or the vice principal or somebody to help us out here, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting here on the phone with her. And then she gets back on a couple minutes later and says, oh, one of the other teachers was able to get her on. I said, oh, okay. And they said, the bus is gone. And I'm like, oh. So keep in mind, I have to walk to the bus stop. Now, I've been on the phone with the school this whole time, and I was like, I'm never going to get to the bus stop before the bus gets there. Now, I am not the kind of parent that my kid has ever had to wait for or look for. I'm always there. And yet she is always worried I'm not going to show up to things. I don't know why. it is what it is. And I've reassured her, and I could see it. I could see the bus pulling in. I'm like down the block. And so she's off the bus, and I can see her with the bus aide, and I can see that she is upset. And I said to her, like, I'm right here. I'm coming. I'm just down the street. I was on the phone with the school. I'll be there in a minute. I'm coming. And I just looked, and it was one of those things. I knew it was going to happen. I could see it happening. And I said, she's going to run. And immediately she bolted. And, thankfully there was no cars around. There was no other vehicles in the parking lot. But I guess that teacher had expressed concern to the principal and vice principal about it being a safety issue, and they called me to discuss it, and I'm like, yeah, like I told you guys over the summer when we put together her accommodations, I let you know this was a very realistic interaction. You can't just leave her unattended, or, these things do happen. And so now they're like, well, we need to put a plan in place. And I'm like, okay, so you mean like what I've been saying? Like, it's very frustrating because as a parent, you trust that when your child is in the care of the school, that they're taking care of her. And I'm not saying the school didn't care for my child. I'm just saying it's one of those things that I can't, like, when they were like, well, what do you want us to do? And I wanted to be like, what do you want me to do? I don't have a car. And I know it's not their problem, but for the, like, once or twice a month that I can't be there to pick up and drop my kid off at school, but I do every other day to make me feel guilty for it, like, it was super unfortunate. And so we have parent-teacher conferences coming up here, and I am looking forward to hearing what her teacher has to say about her, like, daily interactions. And then we're going to go from there and see if we can put together a safety plan of some sorts, because it's not uncommon for special needs kids in particular to, like, be overlooked for whatever reason. And I don't really want to have a situation like that happen again, especially when it involves parking lots. And, the bus aide seemed very surprised by that behavior, which is like, it's frustrating when, as a parent, you say, these are the behaviors that we are worried about. These are the behaviors we are concerned about. And they are a very real threat. They are a very real, tangible thing. It's not like I'm talking about, like, well, what if? Like, this happens. And then she was completely ill-prepared because nobody had ever had that conversation with her, because nobody ever included it in her accommodations. So, it was, as a parent, very frustrating, because I was like, what's the point of me talking if no one's listening? Are we only going to wait until, this is one thing I hate about the education and healthcare system, is that they wait until something's a problem to address it. And it's difficult. Like, my kid has a compression vest, and I said to her, oh, are you using it at school? And she's like, oh, I can only use it when I have OT. And I'm like, that defeats the point of her having access to it. She's supposed to be able to utilize it when she's overstimulated, and not when she's in the care of just the occupational therapist she sees for, like, 20 minutes every other week, or whatever it is that she sees her. Like, oh, okay. Schools definitely need to integrate more sensory-based occupational therapy, and not just fine motor skills. Like, they do sensory-based things, but it's very, very little. I guess that's my soapbox rant for the day. Although I feel like I've probably had a couple of them this WIP Chat, but I think that's probably a good place. I've got a huge chunk to finish up here. But if you made it all the way to the end, I know Halloween's over, but leave me. You know what, you guys? My birthday's coming up. leave me some birthday themed emojis. How's that? Let's do that if you made it all the way to the end. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you'd like to see more videos like this, or, you know, nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come, join the Sparkle Squad. While you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I just am flying by the seat of my pants right now. You guys, I operate on toddler standard time, but also my life is dictated by a small child. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I've missed you all. Thank you for everybody who's reached out, and I'm hoping I can become more consistent. My goal is to have at least 2 WIP chats up a month, if not 1 every single week. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you on my next one. Bye, guys!